All right, man. Well, Frank Hickman, one half of the Hickman brothers, world famous. Now, Frank, always good to get you back on, man. Of course, we did the last one in Phuket. I think we talked about a lot of the guys that you're working with. A lot of moving pieces right now, but let's get into the first one. Let's go back to UFC 243. You were there for all the training camps for Israel and Dan Hooker and talk about being in that environment before the actual fights and the grind and the work that you guys put in.
Um, it was a great experience. It was my third time coming over to Auckland, and that was my longest stint. I stayed for about 4.5 weeks here, and then I spent fight week in Melbourne, and it was it was a grind, man. It was full training camp for me. You know what I mean? Even though I'm just a wrestling coach, I was in the mix. I was in the trenches. I was doing it all with the boys. So it was good. It was a lot of hard stuff. Brad had to fight, and then Brad made his debut, and then Dan Hooker had his fight, and he took out a top five guy, and then you had Israel obviously did what he always does, and he showed up and performed, and it was an amazing experience. And I also was working with Justin Taffa, so Justin Taffa made his debut as well on the Melbourne card. Things didn't go his way, and then one of my brothers, Tato Ivaso, he fought again. So it was a bittersweet for me, but the boys will get better and learn from it. And then from the other side of things, the guys that I spent the camp here with went 3-0, so that was something special for me. And it was good to be a part of that culture that they have here, because I don't know if you know this or not, but like since the success this gym has been having, it's like the community thrives off of it. And I'm not saying that just to say it, like it really does thrive off of it. Like I did a party. We did a party, which means we were greeted, by the local people. Um, we sat in on the ceremonies. We did everything like that. We got off the planes. Um, they did some stuff for us there. They did a haka and stuff. It was incredible. It was unbelievable. So being a part of their culture, being part of their tradition, they gave me a greenstone, which is only given to you by the locals. So, I was wearing it around Melbourne, and they're like, "Oh man, you got a greenstone," and I was just like, "Yeah." I didn't know the extent of it, but they were like, "No, that's serious." So it's kind of like I was welcome into everything. You know what I mean? And every time I'm here, they show me tremendous amount of love. Eugene, Andre, Doug, Mike's tours, they always look out for me. So it was an amazing time. Um, and now I'm back again for Alex's camp. So, we got something good going here. I come over for the camps and do the wrestling with the boys and stuff like that. I'm a body that they use. If I need to run class, I'll run class. If something happens, so I really enjoy mixing it up. I'm at a point right now in my life where you can't put a price tag on what I'm learning and the experience I'm getting, from the coaching staff here, from these high level athletes. So that in itself is, for me, the experience and riding the wave, as I call it. I'm riding the wave right now with the boys, and it's phenomenal. There's no better feeling. I'm very fortunate that Tiger allows me to come over and help and contribute. But I think they see, what my brother and I have going. I think they see that we are adding, contributing our part of it, our, what we need to do to bring to the table. And that's what it's about. It's just at the end of the day, the boys are helping the boys. We're all coming together. And this started before, I moved to Thailand. I know that when I came over, we started the Hickman Bros, but George knew Brad, he knew Eugene, he knew Izzy, he knew Kai, he knew Dan. So he knew all these boys, and he worked out with all these dudes before. He used to coach Kyle when he first started, and you know, and so this is all kind of with Volk, same thing. He's helped all of them, and then now I just have the opportunity to come over and travel. So I'm blessed to be able to do that, and every time I come back, we just pick up where we left off. I know the whole gym, I know everybody. I know my way around town now as well, so it's getting good.
243 was definitely an emotional roller coaster for you. You had people win, you had people lose, but that video, that clip that the UFC put up of when Israel won his title, of you just
Yeah.
what was going through your mind, man? Because you look like it was
Uh,
insane in there.
it was just, man, it was just a wave of emotions. It's just, you just invest so much time with these guys, and you know what they go through. And like I say, man, them getting hurt, they sign up for it. Like, this is what they chose to do for a living. So you deal with the decisions you make. But that doesn't bother me. Like, oh, somebody gets cracked or they break an arm, oh, it'll heal. But like when you see guys fall short, you know what it feels like, because like I experienced it in wrestling, and man, it really like burns and leaves like a sour taste, and you really feel for them. But when you see them just like rise to the occasion, Brad wins, and then Dan comes along and cooks old boy, and then you got Izzy who drops him in the first, and then stares at him, and like you could just like everybody in the back was just, they were like, oh, it's over in the second. Dan kept saying it. When he went back to the corner, you could see through his eyes like he wasn't there, and then second, boom, then he hit him again and dropped him, and man, like the place just went nuts, man. I couldn't. You can't sit in that room and just kind of stand still. Your emotions take over, and you realize everything that you've done is, has come to, and Izzy did. He rose to the occasion at the highest level, and he proved all the doubters wrong. Not that anybody doubted him, we surely none of us did. Like, I know what that guy's capable of, but man, it was unbelievable experience, because they went 3-0, and because they were leading the charge on that, it was kind of built around that. So half their 200 people maybe from their gym or something crazy came. So the crowd was pumping, and it was just electric from beginning to end. I went nuts, man. I couldn't contain it. I jumped up, like I was just pushing people. You just don't know what to do. Like, you can't really, you may think what you're going to do when it happens, but then when it does, you just lose your shit. So that's what I did,
Yeah, I guess your real self comes out in those moments,
Oh, yeah. There's no, like I said, you could plan something or whatever, but then when it takes over, you just go with what you feel. And
Yeah.
I don't know what to do, but just go nuts on everybody.
Yeah,
And then
man.
once it's over, you get so much anxiety, not anxiety, you get so nervous, and your palms are sweating. And I was back and forth to the bathroom. And I was just nervous. And then once it's all over, you're just like, whew, just a breath of fresh air, man. And it's just a relief. It's just a big relief. So I'm looking forward
You
to getting that feeling on December 14th,
That
So,
was your first champ camp, and it was successful. Now you're involved in another champ camp with Volkanovski. This camp,
yeah.
you're more involved out. Is it safe to say that you're more closely involved in this one?
Um, I would say it's kind of hard, because I do the same thing that I do with Volk, that I do with Israel, but Volk's maybe more my weight, around my size. So, we do, him and I maybe do like some more wrestling and stuff like that. But it's along the same lines of, it's just hard work, and it's just a grind, and there's times where I feel like, but you got to pick your shit up and keep it moving for Volk, because at the end of the day, it ain't about me. It's about him. It's about him getting his hand raised and seeing how far he's come in such a short amount of time in the sport of wrestling, of how good he's gotten at it. And that's what that's just the main focus to me. Like, everything else is really like, okay, everything takes a back seat to this guy right now. You know what I mean? It's the same in the last camp. Like, you help all the boys, but boom, I'm here for these three. Let's go. Now I'm here for this. Let's go. And that's what it is. You just full swing. You hit the ground running. He picked me up from the airport. I landed at like 4. I was out at 5:15. I was at the gym, and they were sparring at 6:45. So I got off the plane and got right to it. And we haven't really looked back since. We got this week to finish, next week, and I believe he leaves next Saturday. So he gets there a week out, and then I get in there on the next day, that Sunday.
Being a coach, but at the same time, you're a guy that goes in there and spars with them and trains with them and gets dirty with them. Compared to a lot of other coaches, they're mostly on the sidelines observing and coming up with strategies and like some, like that. How beneficial is that for the fighter, that you can get in there and kind of get dirty with them and kind of,
Yeah.
show them what works and what doesn't work.
I mean, I feel like that's my way of, you got to earn the trust somehow. Like, you got to, if I just rock up and I say, oh, they're gonna say, well, who the hell is this guy? Like, so it took me a while to build up to it. You know, with Alex, it was, oh, he'd come to Tiger, we'd wrestle some, and then the boys fought in Adelaide, and we wrestled some more. And then that was before he fought Mendez, and then we just took it slowly. And then I went and did a tour in Australia for some wrestling about a week. We did some more in Melbourne. We did some more, and then it was just like, oh. And then when I came over for Izzy's camp before he fought Gastelum, he was here for 2 weeks. We roomed together, and that's when we kind of like really we started just wrestling, and I think that's what makes it for me. That's how I justify it. You know what I mean? I justify it as, oh, I'm gonna get my hands dirty with the boys. All right, here we go. And you get in there. It ain't always the funnest sparring them because, you know, I'm definitely no Pacquiao. You know what I mean? But other than that, my thing is wrestling. So if I get the better of them in wrestling, well, I gotta let them get their face back, and I gotta get into their world of sparring. And that's how I justify it. And you get in there and you do certain positions, and then they'll come up to you and they'll ask you after, hey, what'd you do earlier when you did this? And I say, oh, I did this. Or I'll do some defense and they'll say, what'd you do there? I'll say, oh, I did this. So, it's just, as many positions as you can get to, you get to. You just, from one to the other, from one to the other. And, yeah, that's what I do. And it's, for me, like, they're getting better at it. Like, Volk's he's getting a lot better at wrestling. So it's not easy for me anymore. So, you know what I mean? So I justify it as, well, maybe I can't do what I used to do to him, but also I justify it as, well, he's getting better at it. So I'm doing my job. You know what I mean? And that's, yeah. So getting in there with the boys, mixing it up. That's the fun part for me too, because I don't want to be one of those guys that kind of watches from the sidelines. No disrespect, but I don't want to be the guy that just like watches from the sideline and says, "Oh, you should do this." Well, here, I'll show you what you should do. You should do. Here's how it feels. Here's how the wrong way feels. Here's how the right way feels. You know what I mean? So, and they appreciate it. You know what I mean? They understand it. I think they would rather that. But I stay in my lane when it comes to that. I'm not out here showing these dudes like a slip, hook cross. I'm sticking to what I know.
Well, having them bring you in, all these notable names to help them, it must build your confidence in your coaching, man. Of course, you need to have that, right? Any coach needs to have confidence with them, of their abilities to coach somebody. And does that elevate every time you get involved in a camp like this?
Oh, for me, it does. It's definitely reassuring. It's fulfilling. You know that you've been doing your job. And of course, like, it's hard not to have confidence of a coach when you work with the guys that I work with, that are here. Brad's, the Izzy's, the Volks. I help Daniel, I help Kylo. But then the guys over at Tiger that I have as well. So when I'm there, the Merabicks, the Petr Yans, the the Tysons, the Rustoms, the Khalils, like all those guys are phenomenal as well. So I love both of them. You know what I mean? Because there's more wrestling there, right? Because there's, the Russians, et cetera, et cetera. But then coming over here, like, they bring me back. So I always tell myself, just keep doing your job. Just keep doing your job. And it's hard not to be confident as a coach when you have these guys, like, thanking you on a daily basis and, like, giving you praise and stuff. It's humbling at the same time because I do the same thing to them when I watch them spar. To me, it's just, like, mind-blowing to see. Because to watching them spar, they're so high level. It's like me watching a high-level wrestling match. To me, that's like the pinnacle of watching is a high-level wrestling. That's like watching them spar. It's just high level. And it's just sometimes you just don't see that, like, in the States, you know what I mean? So it really is like watching poetry sometimes.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal situation you have with Tiger Muay Thai and City Kickboxing and your connections in Australia.
Yeah.
When you think about it, when you talk to people back at home, what do they usually ask you? You know what I mean? Because they probably see you on TV at the UFC's cornering and just being involved. What is the reaction from the family, from your old college teammates, people like that?
To be honest, like, my dad tries to stay up to the date now and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, he knows he's met Israel. I don't think he's met Alex, but he's met Eugene. They've had good chats. We've gone to eat 2-3 times when we were in Atlanta. But he'll watch the fights and stuff, or he'll say, "Oh, I saw you in the corner." A lot of my teammates will message me and say the same thing. But some of my other family members, they don't know about the UFC. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but the guys I went to school with and wrestled, and like some of my old coaches, like they know, they follow it. You know, Instagram, they'll tag me and stuff if they see me and stuff, which is cool. But for the most part, some of my family, they don't they don't follow the sport, which it is what it is. To me, like that's all gravy. But my dad's getting more into it and stuff like that, and they always ask me, "Where's your favorite place?" Or they'll ask me, "Can you get me a T-shirt signed by Izzy?" Or can you get, Scott messaged me the other day from home. He's like, "Hey Frank," he's like, big Alex fan. He's like, "I was wondering if you get a T-shirt signed." And I was just taking the piss. I took a picture of like Volk and me and sent it to him. He was like, "Oh man, blah blah blah." And he's like, "I'm a 2X. I'll see you when you're in Wilmington." I'm just like, "Oh yeah, cheers, mate. I guess I'll see you whenever." You want me to send you this shirt too? Like, it's funny, man. Like, I will get messages from people saying, "Hey, did you get them to follow me yet?" I'm just like, "Nah." Well, why not? Because I'm not just gonna go up to them and you know what I mean. Like these dudes probably get that all the time.
Yeah.
So I just try to. That's for the most part. That's how it is. But it's good, man. It's I feel I feel proud because where I'm from, it's not the best wrestling and that stuff like that. So for me, after college, people go and wrestle, but I didn't want to wrestle after college. But now I found this, so this is my version of it. You know what I mean? I'm not really doing it for myself. Obviously, I'm doing it because I want to build a career for my brother, not from it. But I'm doing it because this side of the world doesn't have it, and I'm trying to spread through it, and I'm trying to get involved with all the boys and just learn, let them learn as much as they can, and like bring something to the table, bring what I can bring to the table to benefit them, and ride the wave at the end of the day.
Between 243 and this upcoming event, I know you went back to Tiger and you got to work with a new member of your team, I guess, so to say, Rustam. He came down to
Mm.
Tiger. He worked with you guys for
Pratan.
yeah, for like maybe a couple months, right? Am I right?
Yeah, man. He came in for about 8 weeks, but I think I was gone for maybe he came for 6 weeks. I was gone for 5 weeks, 5.5 weeks. So I got back with like I probably did a week with him, and I got back and did like half a week. And then he was already in Dagestan, but I went in the corner of him in Moscow. Man, he's a great guy. Uh, Rustam is a super cool dude, man. Speaks good English. He's Dagestani. He's real laid back. He doesn't get too worked up. He shows up. He's never late. He does what he needs to do. He works hard, and that's it. He can crack jokes. He can take the piss. He can laugh. Like, the joke with us, with the Dagestans and the Chechens, is always the copious amounts of tea that you drink. Like when I went to Moscow or Chechnya, I'm always drinking tea. They just love tea. So, like, that's the joke. And it's true. When we get together, man, it's an hour and a half, 2 hours of just drinking tea and just like chatting and chatting and chatting. But that's their tradition. That's what they do. So for us, you know, let them do it. You know what I mean? Like I'm keen with that. I'm cool with that. He's easy to get along with. You kick it with him outside sometimes, grab a feed or something like that. And I really got to know him. And man, he's a super nice guy. I went to Moscow and cornered him. Spent 5 days there. Was around him and like his team. And we were in the back room, and it was just like all the Dagestani boys, man. And you know what I mean? They all show me love. So he's coming back the beginning of December. He'll be back. Hopefully, maybe he gets on that London card. So it's gonna be good. We
All right,
we
so you
enjoy
guys
having
are
him, man.
planning on working with him for his next camp
Yeah,
then. All
yeah.
right. Well,
We're looking forward to having Rustam back.
that's nice. That's nice, man. Adding to the roster. Did you get to work with Cynthia while she was out there?
I did I did a little bit. I got to wrestle a little bit with her. She came to the classes and stuff. She's a lot smaller than me, so I couldn't do too much. But I got to wrestle with her a little bit. So I know she fights in 2 weeks, DC. Be good one for her. You know what I mean? So, um, but now she's another one, man. She's a tough girl. It was good for her too because Loma was here. So Loma was there with her. So her and Loma same weight. Got to do a lot of working out together, and we're sparring partners and stuff.
When I think back, man, like 2 years ago, I think I met you maybe 2.5 years ago, something like that.
Yeah,
And and when you were working with Tiger at that time, when you just started, I think when you just got back, there was maybe a few fighters you were working with and you were building them up. Now you got top 10 ranked fighters at Tiger. You're working with guys that are champs. Man, it's almost like a fairy tale, like in a way, how
yeah,
everything has worked. It's I timing is so important. You know what I mean? Like being at the right place at the right time, at the right moment, having the right skills and being able to say the right things. And it seems like you've done all of those things perfectly as you went
yes.
along throughout these last couple years.
It. My buddy messaged me the other day and said, um, we used to live in Atlanta together and we worked together. And when I left the car dealership, he was just, he was one of the ones that told me I should go. And I remember, like, I told him in the message, I said, man, I remember we were eating. There was three of us, my two buddies. We were eating at a Thai restaurant in Atlanta in the city on a Sunday night. And I told the boys, like, hey, like, I made my mind up. I'm going. And they were all for it. And I told him what I wanted to do. And he messaged me. He said, now look at you, you're right where you need to be. And it's true. For where we need to be, I know we want to go further, but this is what I moved over here for. This is why I left the States and kind of put everything behind and come over and help my brother build something good, help build the Hickman Bros brand. And people took the piss at the beginning and they were like, oh, you'll be back fast. And I almost did come back fast, but I'm glad I didn't because anything worth doing and worth building, it takes time. And I needed to give it time. And then that's what we're doing is now we're starting to see that you got to give it time. It doesn't happen overnight. When I came in, Ty made his debut. Izzy made his debut in Perth. And I went to watch Ty. It was the second fight, but Volk fought on that card too. Tyson fought on the card. Mark. And I didn't know Izzy at the time. It's the first time I met him. And then Petr Yan made his debut in Singapore. And then now look at him. He's on a 5-fight win streak and he's fighting the Hall of Famer Faber on the same card as Kai and the same card as Volk. And, now we're getting more and more guys that come over to the camp because they want to come over for the wrestling part of it. And then, like you said, timing's everything. And I still remember, man, I was sitting at Poke Bowl and Eugene messaged me before I went to help him with Gaston. Eugene messaged me. And I saw my phone and it saved as Big Huge. And before I even opened it, I knew what it was about. And I remember I got real anxious and I was just like, oh man, I'm gonna wait a little bit to open this. Cause I was like real amped up. And then I opened it and he just said, hey Frankie. And then I kind of like, I said something like, yeah, you know what I mean? Just like, I kind of have an idea what this is about. And he was like, you want to come over and help for the camp? And then I was just like, I kind of like lost it in Pokeball, hey. And I rang George. I think I maybe drove there because I wanted to tell him in person. And I was just like, hey, man, like, this just came up. And then he was just like, oh, we'll make it work. Like, you need to go. We'll make it work. So I'm real thankful for George because he always has my back. Like, he'll always cover stuff for me so I can go do this. And like you said, the timing. And then that kicked off. And then while I was here is when I started rooming with Volk. And we were already cool together, but this kind of like made it even better. And then it was that. Then I came back for Brazil, even though I couldn't do shit because I caught staph on my leg on the way over. So I was like a fanboy on the sidelines, eh? And then I came back for Izzy's last one. I'll come back for this next one. I'm here for Volk now. And yeah, man, timing's everything. We're right where we need to be. We're on the right track to where we're going, but we still got stuff we want to do. I still got goals. Obviously Israel is the champ right now, but Alex, for me, Volk, him winning the belt December 14th is going to be a huge stamp for us on our credentials, man. And that's something that I take real personal with everybody. You know what I mean? So same thing with Petr Yan. You know what I mean? Petr Yan having this fight, like you just see these dudes work so hard day in and day out. It's hard not to give everything you got for them because you know what it takes, you know what it involves, and yeah, man. Like I said, I know I've said it before, but you just can't really put into words sometimes like where you at when you take a big picture and you look at things in like it's my fourth time to New Zealand, Moscow 3 times, Chechnya, been to Australia probably 6-7 times. Like I talk to people back home, man, and they never even left the States. You know what I mean? They're like, how is it over there? I'm like, man, you gotta find out for yourself. And they're like, oh yeah, but you travel for your job and stuff and you coach the boys. And I said, hey, you're right. Thank you. I gotta remind myself sometimes, like, and when I'm not here, my home is in Phuket, Thailand. You can't beat that, man. You've been to Thailand.
Yeah,
Remember
yeah.
George brought you out and then didn't see you for 3 days? You know what I mean? Come on, man. Like it's really I got the best job in the world. I haven't worked a day since 2017 is what I tell Eugene. I was like, bro, I haven't worked a day since 2017. It's true. My job consists of working out with the boys, making sure they're ready to go. Uh, Pokeball could drive me crazy sometimes, but it is what it is, man. Like, got nothing to complain about.
Before we get into Alex's fight coming up, the title fight, I want to talk about Petr. I think is Petr Yan is his story, man, of where he has come from. Like 5 years ago, that's when he first got the Tiger, and he never even had a fight like yet, and now he's about to possibly fight for the title next year. That's 5 years
Yeah.
from having no fights to fighting for a UFC title, man. Like when you see him in the training room and just watch him and look at the development and his skill set, do you feel like Faber has no chance?
No, I wouldn't say that. The guy's a Hall of Famer. He's had a lot of fights. Like, you can never count him out. But I will say him fighting Petr Yan is going to be a very big challenge because Peter is a specimen. And when I say he's a specimen, I say that meaning, man, like the stuff he can do is is unbelievable to me, man. It's hard to put into words sometimes, like watching what he can do and like the talent level that he's at. His boxing, his scramble ability, his wrestling, his pace, like his gas tank, uh, his work ethic. Like you just said, 5 years ago he didn't have a fight. He wins the ACB belt. He comes in and he's just been cooking boys. You know what I mean? And he's only getting better. And he is a phenomenal. He's just an athletic white boy. Like that dude is an athletic white boy. And I don't say that in the wrong way, but like back home, that was the thing. Like, oh, how is he? Oh, he's an athletic white dude. Oh, okay. He is, man. Like but everything he's gotten, like he's worked for. You know what I mean? He's always early to everything. He always stays late. He always just works, man, and works and works. And I'm just excited to see him put on a show. I love all the guys that I coach and everything, but my two favorite guys to watch, and this is no disrespect, but my two favorite guys to watch are Israel and Petr Yan. They're the most exciting for me to watch because you know what I mean. Like they just you don't. It's like they get in there and it's something they switch something on, and it's just another world. It's like a show. That's why I call it the Petr Yan show. His nickname's No Mercy, but I always say the Petr Yan show, and it's starting to stick. I see people starting to say it a little bit, so like, kind of gets me excited, fired up because it's true, man. Like he'll rock out the practice, coach, wraps his hands, does his thing, starts warming up, and then it's just like letting him out of the cage. He just starts going to work. So watching him progress, seeing what he can do, man, has been very incredible. But I saw this happening a while ago. The boxing coach at Sam and John Boy and my brother, like we've talked about this. Like, okay, we got Valentina, she's got the belt. This is before Volk fought Mendez. Well, Volk wins a couple more, he's gonna. Well, Petr Yan's 3-0. He keeps it up. We're gonna have another. So I'm sitting there licking my chops because I know, like, if things keep going the way and the boys keep working and keep busting their ass, Volk gets his shot. Volk wins the belt. Petr Yan wins one, maybe two next year. Boom, he's fighting for the belt. So there's three. You know what I mean? And then it's gonna be, oh yeah, now you know what I mean? Like, this is what we moved over here for. So it's things kind of line up like that, and then we got other guys that we're building up through the pipeline. Got to build them up, and it just takes time, man. Like, we're very fortunate because it's not it doesn't. It's me, it's George, it's Raphael, it's Alex, Tariq, Emilio, it's Sam, it's John Boy for boxing, it's our strength training coaches, it's our Muay Thai guys on the pads. Like, it takes a village to like build these to keep everything rolling. You know what I mean? Like, when I'm away right now, the Boyers are running classes, but you know, it's crazy because like it takes a lot of guys to do it, but it's all coming together and everybody's on the same page. Everybody's working for something. So it's amazing to sit back and watch like everything unfold. And with Tiger, they give you tremendous amount of support. So everything you need's there. And I know Volk does his camp there, then he goes home and then he finishes in New Zealand. That's fine. That works for him. Awesome. But we're along for the ride of that. We're part of that. So it's good.
I always say I just can't wait until Peter learns English because once he does that, man, it's gonna be over, man. Those once he can
Yeah,
get out in those press conferences and express himself in English the way he wants to express himself, he's gonna
yeah,
be it's gonna be straight fire, man. Like I've talked to
yeah,
him off camera, and he's learning. But once he gets it down, where he could get it up to like Khabib level English, it's gonna be a
yeah.
show. Like
Everybody
you
says
said,
that.
it's gonna be the Peter Yan show.
Yeah, they tell him like, "How's his English? How's his English? How's his English?" I'm like, "Oh, you need to learn some English sometimes." He knows he's got to learn it, and I think he's taking English classes. So happy for him because, like you said, once he can talk that shit on camera, you know what I mean? Because he has no problem in the press conferences just walking up the boys and just, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? He's like, "What's up?" So I think once it unfolds, man, it'll be exciting to watch.
Yeah, man. Still young too, man. So young. Now with Volk, man, he's been in camp, he's been traveling, but now he's back for the last part with you and City Kickboxing, and you got Joe Lopez out there. A great combination. How has
Joey
he been
Bags.
looking? You know what I mean? Like compared to other camps, compared to the past, is it just business as usual? There's nothing you need to
Yeah,
really get into extra. It's just like we have the formula. Just go with the formula and let's work.
it's business. It's business as usual. Staying healthy, business, staying strong, staying fit, um, knowing where we're good at, being aware of where he's good at, how we're going to exploit him, what we're going to do, where we need to do it at. It's just you know what I mean? Like, it's a solid, it's a system, but it's easy with Volk. He's a professional, man, and I tell people this all the time. Like, the guy likes to work. He has no problem with hard work. He ain't scared of it. So it makes it easier for us because you know what I mean. I can if I need to like if we wrestling and it's going to be a hard one, he's okay with it. If we go for something on the pads and it's more light, okay. But just because it's hard, man, I think he enjoys it more. He really enjoys the hard practices. He enjoys the process. He enjoys the grind. He enjoys the his body just being completely fucked afterwards. You know what I mean? Like, that's okay to him, and I think that's why he's at the point where he's at. And man, I just can't wait. My fingers are crossed. Just keep him, just staying healthy until then, fine tuning stuff. You know, building it, building it, building it, building it, building it, and then when it comes time for the co-main event, everybody's gonna know. And like I said, man, I know what he's capable of. We all know what he's capable of, but there's still some doubters out there. So you gotta, he'll be able to shut them up. And I'm just excited for him, man. for his family, because he does this for his family. And you know, he used to be in concrete and stuff, and then he put it down, and he chased his dream as a fighter. Moved to Thailand for a year, and then got in the UFC, and then since then it's just been
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, there's a lot of doubters out there, man. If you go
Oh, of course.
online and see the breakdowns and the pundits and stuff like that, you see that everybody believes Max, is the big favorite in this fight. What do you feel like Volk brings to this fight that no other fighter has brought? Not Frankie Edgar, not Ortega. What does he bring?
A different skill set, a gas tank. I think when somebody's gas tank can match Max Holloway's, if not, it's going to be better. That's going to be a deciding factor. You know, he's incredibly strong. His pace is ruthless. It used to just be a wrestler, but in his last couple, it's all now he's a striker slash, and he can wrestle. So it's kind of like, well, pick one or the other. Which one is he? Because like I see these people slowly getting on the train. They're slowly jumping on board. They're slowly jumping on board. But there's still those people that don't. They don't want to commit. They don't want to give them, because you know what? Max is a phenomenal fighter, man. I love watching him. But there's always those people that want to see you not do well and don't want to see you take out the big dog. But that's, you need those people. And I think there's a lot of those people out there. But I just, and I'm not being arrogant, man, but I look at the fight and I think about it, and I've watched many fights, and I just don't know where Alex isn't better, if that makes sense. And as a coach, you got to be confident in your guys, and I am. But like, you talk about it with him, and you can see it in his eyes, man. You can like hear it in his voice. You can hear it in his tone. Like the dude's he's on a mission, and when you're around stuff like that, it's contagious, and it's just, I don't know, man. You can kind of feel the aurora in the room. You can feel it when we're training. You know what I mean? It's business, but we have fun with it too, because you got to have fun with it. And like I said, man, I'm just ready for him to, like, it won't be for shock for us, but for him to shock the world.
This is the last fight, I believe, for the team, right? This year. What are the plans for early next year for yourself? Are you do you have anything up in line? Do you have like seminars? Because I know you've been doing seminars in Australia, and do you have things planned for early next year, or are you just waiting until this is over and then get things booked?
Yeah, man, I'm focusing on this. This is my main focus. Fights December 14th. Get back to Thailand. Get into camp for some of the other boys. I know Tapa's fighting in Houston, February 8th. I know the Auckland card is the week or two after that. So I know some of the boys will be on that. And then Izzy will be after that. I don't know when exactly, but I'm sure I'll be back over here in the jam early Feb. But right now my focus is December 14th. I think for us, I know we've said it in the past, but my brother and I are really going to focus a lot on our technique videos and stuff. That's something we want to start doing, is the techniques and getting that going with the website and stuff like that. Start selling our t-shirts more, putting them online and stuff like that, and then getting them out. Because, we have 200 or so we made, but a lot of them we just give out to the fighters, to the boys, to the Usos. But we need to, because people message us and stuff, and it's definitely relieving, and it makes you feel good. But we want to start getting those out, and but that's just kind of a little bit down the road, a couple months. But my main focus is the next 3 weeks.
Are you going to be in the corner with Alex?
Yes, I'll be in the corner. He gets 4, so I made the cut. You know what I mean? So yeah, man. To be honest with you, if it had been 3, man, I wouldn't have give a damn, because I know the work I put in with him. Like last time, I'd have been in the back anyway with the boys watching. So to me, that's, people ask me that, oh, don't you get upset? No, I don't get upset about that stuff, man. It's not what's best for me. It's what's best for him. You know what I mean? So that'd be selfish of me to like kick a fit and like throw a hiss about it. I'm not. It's not about it. It's about what's best for Alex. But he gets 4 cornermen. He asked me, he trusts me. He kind of just said like, "Hey, you'll be in the corner." So I said, "Yeah, of course, bro." Yeah, man, it's exciting. It's my first one to be in the corner for the title. So I'm
Yeah,
amped
man,
up.
it's a milestone, man.
Yeah, it is.
You end 2019 with a milestone of being in the corner for the first time during a championship fight at the highest level. You can't
In
get better
combat
than that,
sport,
man.
yeah, you can't. Nah, it really is the pinnacle, man. So it's gonna be good. You think of it as like a college coach. The pinnacle is coaching somebody at the national finals, like at the NCAA level, Division One. If you went higher than that, Olympic or world, but the sport is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and this card is fucking stacked,
Yeah.
and everybody's watching. My dad's in a band, um, and he plays every weekend, and he's just like, "Oh, if the boys ain't playing that weekend, I'll probably get the fight." I'm just like, "What do you mean you'll probably get the fight? Fucking, you get the fight regardless. Like wherever you're playing, have them put it on the TV. Like this ain't
Yeah.
no game, Dad. Like you got it." He's like, "Oh yeah, I'll get it, I'll get it, I'll get him." Like yeah, you know what I mean? Like I got my 2 high school wrestling coaches are coming out. 4 or 5 boys I went to school with
Mm.
up in Bloomsburg and PA. They're coming out like for 3-4 days. Like it's gonna be like the support is great, man. So like it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be one for the books.